بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة والتسليم. My dear students, our lesson today is for Global English 1, Unit 8, Lesson 4, Learner's Book, page 114, 115, Use of English. Now, the objectives of our lesson today: at the end of the lesson, students should be able to, number 1, discuss things that float, read and complete sentences, follow instructions, complete sentences, and answer questions. Now, let's start with the new vocabs. Now, this fruit, you know what its name? Okay, now we call it pear, pear, pear. Now, float, float, float. The bowl floats. Why? Because it's filled with air. It doesn't sink. It doesn't go down to the bottom. Float, float. Now, do you know what do we call this? Elastic band, elastic band, elastic band. Now, we call this coin, coin. Now, the last one, paper clip, paper clip. Now, let's stay on Learner's Book, page 114, things that float. Now, do you think all things float? Let's see. Now, does the apple float? What do you think? Does the apple float? Yes, it does, or no, it doesn't? Does the apple float? Yes, it does. Number 2. Does the paper clip float? What do you think? Does the paper clip float? No, it doesn't. Number 3. Does the pear float? Does the pear float? What do you think? No, it doesn't. Number 4. Does the paper boat float? Does the paper boat float? What do you think? Yes, it does. So we have things that float, things doesn't float. Now, let's stay on Learner's Book, page 114. Does it float? Say the sentences, fill in the missing words. Now, we have these words in the word box: paper clip, pear, apple, paper boat. Now, we have 4 sentences here. We are going to complete these 4 sentences with one of the words in the word box. Okay, look at number 1. The floats. What do you think? The paper clip float, the pear float, the apple, the paper boat. Take few seconds to think about this. Now, you have 2 choices. Suits this one. Now, we have the apple floats. The apple floats. Now, that doesn't float. What do you think? What do you think? Which one doesn't float? The paper clip doesn't float. Now, the paper boat floats. The paper boat floats. And the last one, the pear doesn't float. The pear doesn't float. Okay, now let's find it out. You need these things. You need a pencil, a ruler, a paper, leaf, elastic band, and a paper clip in order, okay, to find these things, okay, float or sink. Look at each thing. Does it float? What do you think? Do you think the pencil float or sink? Do you think the ruler floats or sinks? Now, does a pencil float? What do you think? Yes, I think so. Number 2. Does a paper clip float? What do you think? No, I didn't think so. Now, do the same for the other, okay, objects here in the box. Okay? Now, let's move to the next exercise. Now, here we'll talk about does and do. Now, with he, she, it, or singular nouns, we use does. Now, he, she, it, or singular nouns like does. Look at this example. Does the paper clip float? You have 2 answers here. Yes, it does, or no, it doesn't. Which one do you think is the right one? Does the paper clip float? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Hmm? Can you guess? No, it doesn't is the correct answer. Now, with we, you, they, or plural nouns, we use do. So we, you, they, plural nouns like do. Now look at this example. Do the elastic bands float? Yes, they do, or no, they don't. Can you guess? You have two answers here. Which one is right? Yes, they do, or no, they don't. No, they don't is the correct one. Okay, now for the activity book, page 94, 95, please answer them, scan them, and upload them to your teacher in order to correct them and send them back to you. God bless you all. Wishing you good health. Goodbye. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.